Good afternoon, folks. Welcome back to the channel. My name's HappyCattyCrypto, and let's just jump straight into it. Crypto bubbles looking really boring. Lots of bleak coloured reds sitting on the day. So something that's got me really interested at the moment, and it's always going back to this broader image thing and zooming out and really taking a look at what's going on, but stepping back, stepping away from the crowds, stepping away from the noise, and simply basking in the ambience of day charts. Because when you're looking at a 30-minute chart on the day, you're watching it go up, you're watching it go down, and you're getting frightened, and that becomes a big issue for a lot of people. They simply focus on these macro scales instead of taking a step back, like I was saying, getting rid of the noise and just looking at that day chart. And the day chart for BTC is looking really good. The reason why I'm looking at BTC is because we are in a position where we are affected by BTC. It never used to be like this. We used to lead charges, we would create breakouts, the market would follow. Everybody remembers those times. So with BTC moving up like this, my thesis is the same as a lot of people's. If this decides to continue the pole, what we're seeing right now is a possible pole flag tracking sideways. If we get above that 30k mark, which we haven't been above for some time now, it could open us up to a whole new area of higher highs, higher lows, new resistance points, new support points. I'm feeling very positive on BTC at the moment, just because the day chart, it's just looking healthy. We've seen a good run up. We've seen a good amount of consolidation. We've got good support lines to come back down and test. We've come back down. We have tested those, and we keep bouncing and coming back up above that 28k mark. So I think if we hold above 28k, move up to 30k, it's looking really good. So a few things to go over here for the LUNC community. Such an important time for us at the moment. So everything that's going on with this USTC, I can't even say it, USTC, call it what you want, a goddamn grammar. The biggest issue I'm finding with this is, just for starters, okay, this is a great plan. It's a brilliant plan. Duncan has worked on this since the beginning. He had a dream of creating a USTC Repeg, and it became more and more of reality for him, and he has followed that. We have had a podcast with him. You can go back and listen to that. A lot has changed since then. So there is a disclaimer with this, and the disclaimer is very important for the community to absorb, because Duncan's simply saying this could all just not work. It could be a failed endeavor. My biggest issues with this at the moment is, as you can see from the top, it requires a fork. A fork, hard fork, soft fork, pitchfork, call it what you wanna. It's a fork nonetheless. And then it also brings forward a new coin. You heard me right, a new coin. And this coin is called Stardust, and it does have a utility. I'm not going to go into it. You folks really need to go and read this yourself. You need to understand it so you can have a vote on it correctly. But this does require a lot of work for something that could possibly just be built on a sandcastle. And as soon as the water comes in, as soon as the water starts rushing and flowing, it will simply sweep away the foundations underneath us. And it will be a failed attempt at that point. The reason why is because it's a no-brainer at this point, especially with Ed putting out his Medium article that USTC has some kind of legal ties to it that tie back to DK. DK owns 90% of all TFL assets. That means he owns the majority of the system by law. So USTC really is a strange situation in itself. We all want to, right? Who doesn't want to see the greatest comeback of all time? Who doesn't want to see their investment go from peanuts to pounds, right? We all want this. And sometimes our greed gets the better of us. And not so much our greed, but our idea of being in this and standing strong, not letting the FUD get to you, right? This whole idea, and we speak about it so much, of not allowing FUD to get to you. And it's hard sometimes to set aside what is FUD and what is fiction. And we always need to ensure that when there is a line of FUD, we look into it, we make inquiries, and we see if it's fact, FUD, or fiction. And that way we can move forward. There's a lot of facts in this, and the fact is it requires a fork. It requires a lot of length work, and this is all to not just fix USTC, but to fix Wrap Luna, get involved with Luna. And with all of the court situations that are playing out, DK being in Montenegro, possibly being there for a year, it just seems like this could be a huge false sense of security for me, because you could get involved with it, you could start doing it, everything could go great until that individual point where eight months down the line, 7 months down the line, however long it takes, DK is extradited to South Korea. He lands in South Korea, and then all of a sudden, boom, all of the DK related assets that he owns legally, 90% he owns them, right? They could be seized under forfeiture laws, right? And then they could just simply control the system. So this is a big for me, because we can fork LUNC off to its own chain. We've pretty much done that already. And there's all these different systems that you've seen become created. For example, bad example, but an example nonetheless, is Rebel Station. That shows how easy it is for us to move off to our own little station that we've created, we own, we secure, we have the keys for, and it's all safe at that point. So I think there's just so much information to take in with the USTC, Repeg, the Ziggy fork, the whole situation surrounding it. So much to absorb. Folks, make sure you do have a read of this. It's so important, because we're going to get onto this now. Currently, the Joint L1 Task Force is looking at 67.15% no, 8.52% for a no with a veto, and then just over 20% for a yes, just over 4% for abstain. So this is already looking very questionable. This is a community spend, and the community's stuck between the two. So now what the community needs to keep an eye out for, and I'm raising this now, is just pay attention to who votes this time and who doesn't vote this time, and try and look at what validators got involved. If you can't see the validators, there's websites out there other than Station where you can see what the validators are voting. There's about 5-6 of them now that are out there. I'll try leave links to one in the description for you for ease. But pay attention to who votes, because it's become questionable that validators will only vote specifically on the basis when it affects them in a positive or negative way. There's always has to be something in it for the validator set to vote. And it's so silly right now, because none of them are voting on scam proposals, not even bothering to lead by example and going, we're going to know with a veto this. And don't forget, folks, those coins do burn. I'm looking at 1, 2, possible 4 million in burns. Okay. Some nodes operate for a month to burn less than 4 million. You guys can have this 4 million burn and annoy scammers and possibly not have scam proposals up. It's such an easy thing for us to do, yet we're not doing it. I always vote on these, and I always know with a veto them to try and lead by example. So if we move back over now to the governance proposals, let's go to the L1 task force, because this has currently become questionable for a lot of people. And this also, it irritates me, because as a community, we're not agreeing for, like a month's worth of work. We're agreeing for 1, 2, 3 months of work. The community doesn't really understand. What we do understand is, like, this dojo, it's a wiki. It's a Wikipedia for teaching people how to code. And it's, however you feel about this, I just don't see the beneficial push for LUNC. And it's kind of this situation, like I was saying in the last video, and a lot of people are saying that, oh, Terraport's on chain. It is on chain, yes, but what I think a lot of people are missing the point is that it's another place to stake coins, move coins around, do trades, make trades, and it's all not on Station. We need it to be on Station for us to benefit. We're not benefiting 100% from that. We're probably benefiting 20% from it. And then the other 80% is benefiting Terraport. Terraport has been built external to the Station system. All of those features, you would rather see all of that integrated into the Station, on and off ramps, all of that kind of different stuff. Instead, you're not. You've seen someone privatize and make the best of it for themselves, ensure that they control it, they benefit from it, and there was no thought for the LUNC community other than the fact that you're a cash cow at that point. It's a place for them to get liquidity, get their feet on the ground, and keep moving forward. So there's so many different things going on, like I was saying. Now, the one thing that is worrying me is if these end up, so if it ends up as a no, right? Then what? Well, you're already seeing the attitude of when these people have got to a point where they feel like they've provided enough work and now it's time for them to just tweet out and say, well, you know, until we're paid, we're on maintenance. And it's like, this is not what we want. We voted against Terra Rebels because of the situation where they said, well, we're not doing any work and you're not getting the update until you pay us. And it's as simple as that. And these kind of hostage situations are never going to work. It's never going to look positive, and it's always going to have that negative outcome.
All you care about is money.
You're forcing something forcefully that you've dictated. You've not allowed the community to have a proper say and sway over it. And many people are saying, you know, Jay, why aren't you on the L1 dev team? Why don't you apply? And it's simply that I wasn't chosen because of the likelihood of how much I would question. I would want to pursue burning. I would want to ensure the community's getting their bang for their buck. And it just feels like I would be too much of an issue for them to have on that team. I would just simply question too much. And a prime example is the COC team needed a new member. I wasn't allowed to be put up for vote because I had have previous dealings with Strafecol, and realistically everybody in that group has had dealings with each other prior to it. So the only reason they've not allowed me in is because of the simple fact that they need a smooth running process where they're not going to be questioned and they can dictate as much as they can. My issue is that I don't follow all of these trends, and I'm not a yes man. I'm not simply just going to yes something because it's going to cause me problems if I start talking about it and people are going to start hating on me a little bit. It's, at the end of the day, that's why I'm here. I'm here to bring up these things that are going to make you question stuff and make you think about things, because ultimately what's going to happen is this L1 task force could just simply get this put through on a couple of validators. And for example, TGF, which is heavily invested in the L1 task force, okay, all nodes are on that team. They could simply vote for it. And there's so many different comments and clips of people arguing back and forth about unsolicited payments coming out of the TGF and payments being sent to validators so they vote, and all of this different back and forth bickering. And it becomes a point where we're just like stuck in the mud all the time, right? So what we want to see is the L1 team, right? Take all of these different things that people are saying, the actual sentiment in the community, not what they're dictating as a sentiment, but the actual sentiment, and make the correct changes, because it is a good team. We can't deny that. We cannot deny that one bit. It is professional, yes, but they need to start playing ball, okay? We're paying them a lot of money, okay? They're not having to go out every day, work a full-time job, because they're getting paid serious money to do all of this work. And it doesn't even cover L2 work. So this is why it's all become very questionable. But anyway, I think everything's looking positive even with this. But the thing to take away from it is what happens if it ends up as a no? What will the L1 team do then? Just throw their toys out of the pram and just simply say, well, you know, you said no to this, it's your own fault. And then sort of, I don't know what the word for it is, but being kind of petty at that point over stuff. So hopefully we see a positive change in the market. We see a positive kind of reaction from the L1 team, and hopefully stop seeing this acting like we have a choice, but realistically they're dictating it. They're actually choosing who goes up for vote, and they're controlling their little teams very well to ensure that, you know, it stays inside that little sphere. Let me know what you folks think, because it's pretty obvious that the majority of these votes have come from you, the community, because you're always voting first. You guys really rack up votes. But the thing is validators can simply knock that all out of the park and just simply push it through on their own basis, which then becomes problematic because everybody knows the old guard are only interested in their own self-interest. Does it change the system? Does it alter the rewards coming out? Is it going to drain the Oracle rewards pool? And then depending on how that little yes-no questionnaire works out for them, they then choose how to decide. Folks, have a really nice day. Stay safe, stay humble, enjoy the sun, stay aware wherever you are. Beware of scammers, beware of doppelgangers. They all bloody exist. They're all out there. They're all scumbags. And I will catch you in the next one. Shoo!